How's it going, guys? Welcome to the Weeb Lounge. I am Nick, and once again, this is a Princess Connect Redive character spotlight on a new character that has the pecos to be perfection. Yep, Summer Shizuru, and this character, well, she's coming across as average on all these websites and everything that I read, but I don't think so. Alright, now, this character, it's a tank class character. Shizuru, another tank, but actually a little bit more of a proper tank, kinda, sorta. Now, I took this character to 5 stars, ranked her up like mad and everything, because I had an idea that this character might be something special that's not quite being shown yet. If that makes any sense. I'll get to it, but let's go ahead and get into the skills. Skill number 1, blue waving. Yeah, I always thought it was like blue wave or something, but that's what the katakana says, so I'll just go with it. It is a frontline physical damage attack and physical damage attack power buff for herself. It's also a little bit of a small heal. The higher her physical defense, and yes, there's a scaling thing here, the higher her physical defense, the higher the damage and the heal is. So basically, buff after buff after buff, this will get better. And this is kind of the theme with this character. It's also probably one of the reasons why the character is brought down to basically an A-class average character, but I think that's because some people aren't really making good use of her. Skill number 2, Sunflowery. That's what it says. It's katakana. It's right there. Increases the physical attack power of all allies by a small bit along with a small heal. Now, the attack power buff is small. The heal is small, like almost insignificant in all reality, but the higher her physical defense power, the higher both of those will be. More hit points, more attack power, so it's another scaling thing. How much does it scale? Well, there's still a lot of testing to be done, but I imagine combined with the other skill, that could be fairly significant when all is said and done. Alright, let's go ahead and get to the EX skill. EX skill increases physical defense. If you couldn't guess, 5 stars, it will greatly increase her physical defense. This is actually a really solid tank that can also, with this Union Burst, put out a little bit of damage. Alright, the Union Burst, the Summer Sacred Splash. It is a frontline damage attack and physical absorb barrier cast upon herself. The higher her physical defense, the higher the amount of damage that she'll do, and also increase the amount of damage that the physical barrier can absorb. Okay, now, when everything is all said and done, it feels like this character has some scaling physical defense that is going to be ridiculous. I just get this impression that she's... Now, there's a lot of tanks out there, but there's not very many tanks that actually provide buffs to all the other characters, right? This character will do that, along with a little bit of a heal. She has a physical absorb barrier, really high physical defense. She will stack her stuff. It's coming across like she can just be, like, ridiculously solid tank, right? Maybe? Okay, now... no unique equipment or anything yet. No 6-star. Won't get that probably ever. But maybe next year we'll get unique equipment. We'll see. Let's go ahead and take her into combat. And I'm doing a little something different with this one. I'm putting her someplace that should be a little bit more difficult. 15-3 hard mode on her own. Why? I kind of want to get some Arisa shards because why not? Now I got her at level 204, rank 19 or 20, something in there. 5-star. Equipment's all doing all good. Let's take a look. And I'm actually, since it's going to actually take her a while to get through, I'm going to leave the speed up a little bit. Actually, I'll slow it down until after her first Union Burst. Okay, now, basically you're going to see this character take virtually no damage. Okay, it's a solid tank character. And she's actually fast enough to stack some of those physical defense buffs. Remember, physical defense can stack, regardless if she's just casting it or other people are casting it. So, yeah, I mean, that is kind of... For whatever reason, the first time I saw that pose of her, I burst out and laughed. I thought it was funny. It's cute. It's not really funny, but for whatever reason, I found it funny. All right, let's speed that up a little bit. This is going to be one of the little mini boss fights too. Now, that little ability she has there, you know, granted it gives the, you know, the buffs and everything, but you know, it got the physical absorb barrier, and she's pretty much never going to lose it at this point. But yeah, it's a tank that does a little bit of some damage. You know, most tanks don't do nothing for crap, and a little bit of a buff for everybody else. And the physical defense stacks, and the higher it is when she does the buff, she'll get higher defense. It could theoretically become this character with such high physical defense that you're just not going to hurt her. Period. What's wrong with that? Alright, now, there's a lot of effects out there and everything, like, if you have a physical defense barrier up and you take 0 damage, it negates the effect, right? Well, she has the ability to do this. Her physical defense gets ridiculously high, so if you're fighting a boss that does like some incredible spike damage or something, there's the possibility that she could just like brush it off. And depending how you form the group, if you really need that defense, well, there you go. Why is she only rated an A? I mean, she got through that perfectly on her own. She did enough DPS to get through it. Took her a little while, but that's expected of tanks. She ended the fight, I think, with full health. What? Why is she only average? This is a good tank! Anybody? I don't know what the deal is with people kind of talking her down. And, you know, if you focus a group that just builds physical defense, granted, you know, you're never going to kill anything. So I guess there's that. That, I guess, is the disadvantage to it. You can't really make her and her 2 Pekos really stand out. She stands out. You know, I mean, just look. She stands out. A lot. But this character is just to me, she's going to be a phenomenal tank. And especially in boss fights that have this high spike damage, like I mentioned, and all this other stuff, it doesn't feel like you can go wrong. It's only rated an A-class character, but in terms of being able to tank things, even without any other buffs or anything going on, it feels like her tank class is S or maybe even SS in terms of that ability. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button, guys. I really appreciate it when you guys do that. And I appreciate the Pekos. I really do. I mean, there are some people who are saying, you know, you don't really need to roll on this character. And yeah, I didn't in all reality. And, you know, if you have, you know, 6-star Peko, you have 6-star Nozomi, you have all these other crazy characters, do you really need another tank? No, you don't. You know, Summer Shizuru, her abilities and everything aren't so exceptional that you can't get away with using those other characters, obviously. You know, she's sadly replaceable. There's 2 things I see that aren't terribly replaceable, but, you know, that's a different story. Oh, Pekos. Anyways, I do like this character, and the mechanics can scale her physical defense up for these longer fights that might have scaling damage. The longer it goes, the more damage the boss does, right? Now, there's really not any bosses that kind of sort of do that, and there are some special fights where she can come in handy, that's for sure. But yeah, it's one of those characters, it's like, there's got to be a use for her. She is a good tank. She is a good character. Where do we put her? And I think that's the reason why her rating actually went down. Because is there any specific instance at the moment where she outshines anyone else? And I think the answer to that is no, not really. Well, that's probably why the lower rating. But that could change depending on what kind of events and bosses we have to fight into the future. You never know. We'll see you in the next video.